Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day as we get things kicked off here with, well, we're talking speakers today. We have a great company joining us to talk about their, well, I'm going to say very unique speaker because this is more than just audio, but hey, they found a way to include video as well. And I think in a world where more and more you have things like music videos that go along with music, or if you want to make a video call, things such as that, video is becoming an increasingly important part of our communication. And hey, we have a great company that has a very unique product to, facilitate that. But before we do that, a couple of things to mention, including computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find anything and everything having to do with today's show. So be it, our contest, which is brought to you by Logitech. We'll have a winner next Friday. Be that our live video stream where you can watch Computer America and not just listen. Or be that the show notes where, a link to our guest website or any articles that we do later on in the program. All of that will be included right there on our homepage. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into this because, we have a lot of questions to ask him, as well as later on in the program, plenty of CES 2018 coverage as well. So don't want to waste any time. So help me welcome onto the show. We have here with us Mladen and Jovicic. Hopefully I said that right, but Mladen, he joins us. He is the CEO and founder of the company of Sproutbox Design, which made, this is the product that you need to check out and what we're going to be talking about today, AIVIA speaker. Very cool looking, and again, encourage you to check out the video portion. So once again, welcome onto the program, Mr. Mladen. And hey, how you doing? Hopefully you're well.
Good, thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. So I think a good place to start, as usual, is the beginning. And why don't you tell us a bit of Sproutbox Design's background and a bit of your background? How did you find yourself in this line of work?
Sure. So Sproutbox Design was created by me, my fiance, and a few friends. We all work from the visual effects industry in design, and so we decided one day to create a tech company, basically. And we really love music. We love to play it in our condos. We love it on the go. So we decided to take a stab at creating AIVIA, which is a portable smart speaker and a subwoofer.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yep, that's basically it.
Right. So, and so that's Sproutbox Design. So talk about this product we have here today. Looks very cool. And of course we have a link to the website dedicated to it, but tell us how this speaker, kind of, came to being. What is the AIVIA speaker?
So, one of the main features of AIVIA is, so we have three main features. It is a wireless charger for your smartphone. It is a tablet integrated into the speakers, and it has a subwoofer at the bottom to really feel that music. It's basically an all-in-one hub type of speaker for all your daily needs.
So I guess the question would be, where do you see this? Where do you see this fitting into someone's life? Is this someone's new alarm clock? Is this someone's travel companion? How are you expecting people to use this speaker?
It's a little bit of everything. One of the reasons we created it was because we had a few, smart speakers. We had Alexa, Google Home at home, and the audio just wasn't deep enough. It sounded very flat. So we decided to add all these features onto it. We wanted to create something that you can conveniently use. That's why we put the Google Home Assistant into it. I use it all over the place, to be honest. When I'm cooking, watching TV, in the bedroom, literally in the shower, or in the bathroom, I mean. My fiance uses it for doing makeup in the mornings. Many ways of using it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get into some of those, of course. And I'm sure we just found out, you did go through Indiegogo, was successfully funded, and very cool that you were able to reach your goal. So congratulations. And
Thank you.
this certainly looks, and for everyone out there who's just listening to the radio portion, kind of boxy. I'm sure you could give better dimensions, the inch by inch dimensions of it, but it's not very big. It would be completely portable if you wanted to, like you said, move it around the house.
Yeah, totally. So we designed it around the tablet dimensions, which is it's an 8-inch tablet with 5.5 inches depth. And the reason we did it that way is so that we can basically put it anywhere in our home. We have a lot of areas to move the speaker around from room to room, and so that was one of the main focuses while we were developing this thing.
So how comfortable do you feel that this is a smart speaker? Because, those have to be pretty accurate when it comes to audio quality, when it comes to voice recognition, things like that. The quality has to be there. Otherwise, it could be a very painful part of someone's smart home. How does it act as a smart speaker, or I'm sorry, as a I don't want to say the words, but as a Google Home Assistant, how does it behave?
Well, it behaves very well. It's the convenience factor. One of the things we talked about was, sitting down at our couch, and we're lazy in nature to get up sometimes. So definitely having the Google Assistant and talking to it, scheduling your task, playing your music, controlling your smart devices in your house with your kitchen appliances, the ability to watch videos, learn from it, and also charge your phone at any point without any cables. I think that's one of the main things a smart speaker can give to anybody, as well as serve as a hub for info like weather, traffic, for your shopping needs as well.
Right. And so tell us more about the wireless charging standard. Is it Key? Is it a charge pad?
Yeah, it's the standard Key. Or QI. Not really sure how to pronounce that, to be honest.
I've heard a couple people come on. They say Key, QI, but we just did a story yesterday saying that Power Mat, I think, was the other one. Just conceded, essentially said we give up, and now Key is the de facto universal standard. So it's good to hear that you have that in there. It would work with
absolutely. So it uses QI, or Key as you call it.
Right.
And so we wanted to make this speaker very minimalistic design, so you don't have to configure it or play too much with it to set it up. And one of the things I found a problem with always charging my phone, I would always play music at home, but Bluetooth speakers in another area of the house, cables are in the other, need to charge my smartphone. So, we decided to put it on top to go along with the design because we had so much space.
Yeah. And that space, it's you probably had a lot of it because, of course, the subwoofer that is on the side of it. Let's face it, devices try to be as compact as possible, but when you're looking for actually decent sound, you need that area. You need the area for the air to reverberate, give you that bass. And so, very cool that you decided to turn that into a wireless charging pad. That's something I probably would never thought of. So tell us about what devices this works with. I see a Bluetooth symbol on top. Is it Bluetooth, Wi-Fi? How do people communicate?
So you can connect to it with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. You can also, there's like 2 USBs in the back where you can plug in your flash drive if you wanted to listen to music or watch video. We got a lot of feedback actually. A lot of people didn't want to connect their phone to their Bluetooth speaker. They wanted to have a hub on it already, which never crossed my mind to begin with, to be honest, when we first started developing it. And then, we got some feedback and we decided to put that in there as well.
Yeah, no, that's one of the great parts of going through places like Indiegogo or Kickstarter. The money's great, don't get me wrong. It funds the whole thing. But the feedback from the community is something that's equally invaluable. And I can kind of see where they're coming from, where they say they wanted to have a hub is, probably because if you do, maybe if you give it to a friend or someone else uses it, your phone isn't tied up in the process. So makes perfect sense, and glad that you include that in there. In your testing or in people who maybe have already had their hands on it, what are they finding themselves using it most for? Is this like I've heard a lot of people use these smart devices in the kitchen for recipes. Some people use it for Skype calling with relatives. What are some of the use cases that people have found for the AIVIA speaker?
It's funny you asked that. With all the features we have, they loved using it just for the subwoofer alone, to be honest. Like they love watching videos of it, and then playing their music mainly, and the fact that they can carry it around, as well as the tablet interface. A lot of other, that's the thing, this thing has so many different features that a lot of people use it for different things. Some people love the fact that they can use it as an alarm clock. Some people love the fact that they can just blast music and carry it around the house while watching a video. They love the wireless charging bit. They don't have to deal with cables anymore. And that technology definitely has advanced since its release. And then the other half is the voice assistant with the Google Assistant.
Yeah, that's a part that I think Amazon this past holiday said that their number one tech gift was a version of their Amazon Alexa, and of course you have Google in this one. Google sold a ton of virtual assistants as well, and one theme that I'm already seeing coming out of CES is that cars and appliances and more, they themselves are starting to work with smart speakers. So, how important, and this isn't so much about the AIVIA speaker, but just in your point of view, how important is it to maybe start to think about a digital assistant, because it's starting to become really easy to integrate a lot of things with them.
Well, I think it's really important. Also, I think one of the main things is always the price point that comes with these things, especially if you're spending $300 on a smart speaker, but it can only do one thing mainly. I think for me personally, that was a factor in driving to create this thing. I felt I spent a lot of money on a thing that the other thing is, as we move forward with all this crazy new tech, it's becoming faster and faster to enable the person to be very lazy. And, that's honestly one of the reasons we created it, because I didn't want to get up out of my couch. I was too lazy. I just want to yell out something, and then another thing will turn on for me.
No, that's well, you say lazy. Convenience, I believe, is the marketing term that they all use. And no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I just installed, well, however much you install a light bulb, but I installed a Wi-Fi connected light bulb. And yeah, I lay in bed and I pull my phone out and I turn on the lights with my phone. I could go up and hit the wall switch, but that's boring. But no,
exactly.
Right. So talk about the price, because you're actually, with the price I'm seeing here, you actually kind of sort of come in at about something Google recently launched or is planning to launch. I'm not sure where the Google Home Max is exactly in their launch period, but the Google Home Max, it's a relatively new product. And I think it tries to fill the same space that you are trying to fill as well, which is everyone complained that smart speakers, even though speakers is half of the name, they were pretty crappy speakers. So Google Home Max, very expensive as relative to a lot of others. Tell us about the price and how and how it kind of fits in with smart speakers in general.
Sure. So yeah, we definitely wanted to hit this market between above a smart speaker and below like a home theater soundbar setup. We're aiming to go between $299 to $399 when we ship US. I think we're gonna try to keep it around $299 to be honest, just because there's a lot of products coming out, and they're kind of around that price. I have bought Bluetooth speakers that were $399, $400 that did one thing, and they weren't that great to be honest.
There definitely seem and we do a lot of audio testing here as well. There's that market segment, and this just personally, that's like 15 to I'd say about $80. You get that you get that one set of quality, and then about 80 to like $200-300 you get a step up, and then you really don't hit like that next step up until you get into like the audiophiles. It's like here's $1,500 headphones, and they sound way better, but they're $1,500. Like you have to spend a lot of money to get that next step up. So I think you're right. You're probably hitting that middle ground, and then anything above that, you're probably looking at a lot of money. So you probably hit a pretty good spot. The other selling point, of course, the tablet. That's something smart speakers are hit and miss. They either have them or they don't. But I will say, design wise, you've designed a pretty sexy looking speaker. There's no way about it. Talk about designing this thing.
Sure. Yeah. Originally, it was called the Edge speaker. Actually, originally it was just a cube with a flat facing screen. And then, I'm a very tall person. I'm 6'6", so I tend to look down on things a lot from top down. And of course, in developing this thing, we're like, well, I can't really use it unless I flip it. So let's just put it at an angle. And that's how we kind of came up with that idea.
Right. No, and no, it makes perfect sense because if this thing is sitting on a counter, you're right. I don't know how many people are technically looking at it 3 feet off the ground straight on, and I don't know how many people would be looking at it from a bird's eye view either. So I think you have the best of both worlds with this with the slanted screen.
Yep. Thanks.
Yep. So I mean the speaker. So talk to us about where it is in its development cycle, because like I said, you just ended your Indiegogo. I see. Let's see, November. Yeah. So it's been about 2 months now. Not enough time to really bring it to market, but how's it going? When can people expect to see these things, and where can they expect to see them?
So we're actually gonna release this next year in 2019. We are trying to currently right now we're updating our prototype. So since the release, a lot of updates. We need to swap out some hardware components as well, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it in 2019.
2019, not bad. And again, you're trying to hit that $300 mark as best you can. So, I shouldn't really expect anything different from that. And that kind of leads us to, I mean, you said you were already working on redesigns because, hey, it hasn't even been released yet. Talk about the future. Where you kind of see this? Do you see yourself making a version 2.0 eventually? Do you see this, maybe like a mini? What's next for Sproutbox design?
Well, we have a few concepts in the works in the background. Can't really say much about it at this point, as all the focus is on AIVIA and bringing it to market. For sure, we'll definitely have, once we release it, we'll have monthly updates with our software. And then as far as AIVIA 2.0, we have a few things we're trying to integrate in the future. But right now, honestly, all the reasons to focus is just to bring this out into the market as is.
Right. And some things I actually forgot to mention, or at least ask you about. Talk about the battery life of this thing, because it is portable, and a lot of speakers come with something that isn't too much more substantial than your average smartphone battery. Talk about battery life and talk about charging a phone. How much of a phone can it?
Sure. So the speaker's battery, it's dependent on what you're doing with it. If you're listening to music, you can get around 5 to 8 hours straight up. If you're going to use the tablet, it'll be just a little bit less than 5 hours. And then the wireless charging, I think it depends per phone when you're charging the actual smartphone. When we first started out, we're looking at wireless charging, and it's like, does anybody use it? Will it take forever? Can I just plug it in and see it will be faster?
Right.
It turns out it's since then it's been quite updated, and it charges pretty fast.
Very, very cool. So and so I think that's I'm trying to think of any other technical details we might have missed. I mean, again, we're looking at the pictures of this thing. Talk about battery life, the screen size, 8 inches. I mean, it's and operating system. This is looks like it's an Android tablet.
Yep, it's definitely Android, but you can connect via Bluetooth, from your iPhone if you wanted to, as well. And since the new iPhone has wireless charging, it will work for that as well.
Right, and I assume
as well as sorry to interrupt, as well as it has 35 watts in total. Hopefully, by the time we push it out, we'll try to push that number up.
Right, and of course, being Android, if you are already invested in the ecosystem, if you already have your music or something like that, you can stream it directly from the device without having to, again, tie up your phone. So
absolutely. I think one of the main apps that everybody has used with this speaker so far is Spotify, just because everybody has an account, and
right.
that's what they love to store all their music. So.
Right. No, makes perfect sense. So, I think that's just. And last one before I let you go, and I'll let you have one more word. But the name, it's a palindrome. I believe that's what it's called when it's forward and backwards. But AIVIA, where did you come up with that?
Okay, this is a kind of funny story. So, at the gym next to me, I was looking up. We're trying to figure out a name for it, because originally it was called the Edge speaker, literally just because it was an Edge speaker. But our next door gym is called Viva, and so we kind of played around with those letters, and AIVIA came about.
I gotcha. So you thought Viva looked cool, and you're like, you know what, we can make that cooler, and AIVIA was born. And everyone, and everyone out there, again, it's AIVIA. So again, a palindrome works both ways. And again, we have a link to it right there on our homepage. And I will say that Mladen, if we miss anything, please feel free. But if people want to find out more, where can they go?
They can check us out usually on social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, and for anything else on our website at aviaspeaker.com.
All right, thank you, and everyone feel free to do that again right there on our homepage. And I will say that hey, until you guys actually release a product, we'd love to have you back on and see where it lands. But I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us about this. Again, this is the first time I've seen really, not like a Google Home Max, but rather just a smart speaker with a tablet and also the subwoofer. I mean, this thing I think would hit a lot of audiophiles, all the sweet spots. So again, thank you so much, and have a great one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and we would love to come back as throughout this year.
I would love to catch up. All right, so until next time, have a great one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. And there he goes, everyone. And so you can check that out, again, aviaspeaker.com if you want to check it out directly. But we do have a link to it in the show notes, which actually can be found on social as well. So with that being said, we have like 5 minutes, so we get to start computer and technology news a little bit early, which is just fine with me because, like I said, lots and lots and lots of different news coming out of CES. CES 2018, for those of you who are not familiar, Consumer Electronics Show 2018, day one, officially today. Yesterday was kind of a freebie. A lot of people try to get out ahead of it and do what they do, but day one is really the biggest day. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So here we go, computer and technology news, brought to you by Fire Dragon Security. Here we go. All right, why don't we go ahead and start off with, well, Honda. They make cars, but what you may not know is that they are actually hugely invested in robotics. They make a lot of, not consumer grade, but rather industrial grade robots. They make the arms that, manufacture other things, but they are stepping more and more into the consumer space of robotics, or even things that consumers are interacting with directly. When you have a giant robotic arm, you don't have to worry about looks. It's all about functionality. You don't have to worry about people being improperly trained. But hey, if you check out the video portion, you can see the pictures here, and you should definitely see them because these robots are, to put a word to it, adorable. They are big, round, they're friendly, they have faces on them. They're trying to make them look like people, because I can't say that word. They are doing their best to make robots look friendly. And for good reason. Well, they have a couple of different iterations that are hopefully going to make it into either your home or your place of work, and you're going to be interacting with them directly. So this coming out from Engadget. They are having great coverage of CES 2018. And let's see. So, Mr. Andrew Teratola, about an hour ago, Honda reveals more details about its companion mobility robots, where the company just needs some help actually building them. So, and they're really mostly real. At CES in Las Vegas on Tuesday, today, Honda officially debuted its 4 newest mobility and companionship robots, part of the company's Empower, Experience, and Empathy program, because, empathy, that's good for building robots. Though they're only in the conceptual stage, Honda plans to develop the platform with a variety of like-minded partners as part of the company's open innovation approach. And by open innovation, Honda is part of, a lot of big tech companies in Japan. Japan obviously has a huge interest culturally and economically in robotics. So they're looking, it looks like, start some kind of robotics coalition. So they said that, the first robot we have here, it looks like, for everyone out there listening on the radio, think of it like a Mars rover, but not really a Mars rover. But it's called the 3E D18. And it's an autonomous off-road vehicle designed for rugged applications. And so maybe like a four-wheeler or an ATV, but without the handlebars. And they said that, they said it would be used from everything from backcountry search and rescue to agriculture. And hey, that's what this robotic would do. It would go out there and do things that people really don't want it. The next one looks like a garbage can or even a cooler with LED eyes. And this is the 3E C18. The other one was the 3E D18. So we have D18, C18. Yeah, it looks like B and A. So yeah, but the C18 looks like a cooler with eyeballs. And they said it's more of a pack mule, where the top is going to lift off. You can fill it up, load it up, and it will be designed for indoor and outdoor use, and it will be able to carry cargo. I can immediately think of situations where maybe carrying groceries in from the car, it would be able to do things like that for you. The next one looks like it's some kind of sitting apparatus, and the next one after that looks like it would be some kind of companion robot. And hey, folks, we're going to leave the robots there. We have more CES coverage, but when we come back, we have more stories, including, well, hey, some stuff about policy and more. Hey folks, we'll be right back. Computer America, more right after this. Stay tuned.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour as we continue on. And all right, so let's deviate from the CES coverage just for a minute. And let's talk about this one. This is a story coming out of Wired. And, you know, it's pretty long, but we're going to skim it. We're going to try to get the essence of this article. But this is something that we talked about last year a little bit. But this one is a step beyond, and it's creepy. So this is, again, from Wired, Mr. William Welser. And check it out. So last year, if you recalled, we talked about how artificial intelligence was able to make new faces. They were able to make photorealistic images of people that didn't really exist. And they did that by taking parts of different celebrities, because, you know, celebrities have a million photos of them from all different angles, and the AI was able to create different faces that look similar. And we also saw images that, you know, if you could do that with a completely made-up person, you could take the same algorithm, apply it to the same person, and make a new face that would be photorealistic, look just like the person, and, you know, it could be doing anything you wanted. You could take a picture of, you know, a celebrity, put them on, you know, make a photo of them on the moon, whatever. And hey, all of a sudden, Britney Spears is now first woman on the moon. Things like that. Well, that was one thing that we started to have to worry about, because the reality that photorealistic fake images was a reality, you can't trust photos anymore. It's possible. And right now it's still in the lab. Right now it's still research and development. More proof of concept that scientists and universities are working on. But, well, you can't trust images. I'll leave it there. Take everything with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that all images are fake, but it's not impossible to fake really, really accurate, impossible to determine false or otherwise. And yeah, this is the future we have to really come to terms with. But this is where this article comes in, and it's a step beyond, where fake news 2.0, artificial intelligence will soon be able to mimic any human voice. And not to worry any of you, but you know, of course, Truly's voice, there's only probably about 800 hours of me talking up on the internet, so I could be replaced by artificial intelligence. This is good to know. So, in 2018, fears of fake news will pale in comparison to the new technology that can fake the human voice. Dun, dun, dun. And worse still, it could strip away from each of us a part of our unique. But companies, universities, and governments are already working seriously to decode the human voice for many applications. And this is something that's been happening since the days of Stephen Hawking. You know, we all remember his very stilted, robotic, slightly human voice. You know, it's, that was some of the first iterations of computer generated voices. And looking at what we have now, looking at things like, the Amazon Echo, looking at things like the Google Assistant, looking at things like Siri. I mean, we've come a long way. They're not perfectly human. You can still say, all right, that's obviously done by a machine, but it's getting better. And it's the same kind of work and research going into this that's going to make the next phase of it even more worrisome. Is that when can you even that, hey, that's not just a robotic voice, that sounds just like a person. Is it a person? Is it a robot? And then even beyond that, what happens when that voice isn't just a generic female or generic male voice meant to soothe you? Rather, they're able to get tone, inflection, they're able to get accent, they're able to get, subtleties of human language that suddenly you're talking to not just, you're not just talking to generic female voice, but you're talking to, Bill Clinton or Richard Nixon on tech support because they feel that's what people want to listen to is old, past presidents. Or you're talking to, they decide that Eddie Murphy, he needs to do more voice work, but he doesn't want to do voice work, but that's okay. We have artificial intelligence and lots of material to draw from. We can make artificial intelligence Eddie Murphy. These are fast approaching. And they're saying that technologically adept nation states, being the U.S., China, and Estonia, whenever you say to me technologically adept nations, U.S., I'll grant you, China, sure, Estonia, I don't really lump those together. But anyways, have waded into the space, and tech giants such as Google, Amazon, Apple, and Facebook all have special projects on voice. Very obviously, because each one has their own virtual assistant. And hey, natural voice, it's going to help a lot. So anyways, the article here, and we have a link to the article in the show notes, but they say how they've been doing it since the 90s, how Apple Macintosh has been able to do this for a number of years. But they said that details such as intonation, inflection, and pacing are particularly difficult. But we're getting there. And Adobe's Project Voco is developing what is essentially a Photoshop of sound waves. And it works by substituting waveforms for pixels to produce something that sounds natural. And the company is betting that even if a person's speech can be recorded, it will require little more than cut and paste action to alter a recording of their voice. And that Adobe's initial results from Voco are eerie as well as awe-inspiring. Because again, if you can change a word here or there, it used to be fact. If you had someone's voice on tape saying something, it was them. You could tell a fake, you could tell a forgery. You could tell if it was or wasn't. It was very black and white. Now we're entering a gray zone. Did they say it? And if they did say it, did they say exactly what the recording said, or was the recording altered, not just by cutting pieces out, but by actually altering the words said within it? Very, very scary time. So technology companies and investors are betting on the idea that these systems will eventually have tremendous commercial value, which they will. And even before that situation arises, though, this particular type of technology will present big risk. And that by 2018, a nefarious actor may easily be able to create a good enough vocal impersonation to trick, confuse, enrage, or mobilize the public. And that most citizens around the world will be simply unable to discern the difference between, a fake or real president's voice or soundbite or the real thing. It's getting to that point. So, so when you consider the widespread distrust of the media, institutions, and expert gatekeepers, audio fakery could be more than disruptive. It could start wars. imagine the consequences of manufactured audio of a world leader making bellicose remarks supported by doctored video. And again, we saw last year where they were able to alter and create no, not even alter, but create photorealistic images from scratch. And yeah, so if you can't trust your eyes, you can't trust your ears. The world of verifying what actually happened is about to get a lot harder. I mean, Photoshop already started this when you could have a convincing Photoshop, and we've seen a lot of damage done by a convincing Photoshop. But when you substitute that for audio and video, you're going to have to start taking the same kinds of, well, the same kinds of precaution that you take to pictures where, that picture could have been edited. Yeah, you're going to have to take that to audio and video as well here in the next couple of years. Very, very important. All right. So with that article, and again, thank you to Wired for sharing that. But let's see. Let's do. How about this one? This one, I believe, also coming out from CES 2018, and Pioneer. You may know them. I think they used to make speakers, TVs. Yeah, they made electronics, and well, now they're showing off some new technology, very, very cool, and something that you've probably heard of before, where Pioneer's autonomous driving technology includes LiDAR and driver monitors. What it means by monitor? Let's find out. But hey, this is exciting because it just means yet another player when it comes to autonomous driving technology. Really, so many companies, so many divisions, so many different fields are working on autonomous driving technology. Whoever's able to get to market with it first and make it affordable and cheap is going to essentially be the Microsoft of the next decade. Where Microsoft has, a 90% market share or 95% market share when it comes to computers. Yeah, that's what it's going to be for self-driving vehicles. It's a very good place to be, so you can see why so many companies are looking to be that company. So this, again, from Engadget, Ms. Mallory Locklear, and they're saying that Pioneer is well known for its audio devices, but CES is showing off some of its other and maybe less expensive technology, and that the company has been working on level 3 and level 4 autonomous driving tech or conditional and high automation. So not full automation, but high automation. So think of things like lane keep, think of things like, auto brakes, things like that. That's what Pioneer is working on. So the driver still has to be prepared to take over from the automated system at some point, entering an already very populated field while making sure to bring along some of the entertainment products it's already known for. So with the demonstration of its advanced UX cockpit, Pioneer's level 3 autonomous driving system concept, Pioneer displays 3 features it says will be important as self-driving vehicles enter the market. Let's see. So it has driver monitoring system, which will keep track of the driver's attentiveness through facial recognition camera, heart rate monitor, steering wheel sensor, seat sensor, and seat vibration. So they're saying that the first and most important system is making sure that the driver is aware, alert, and again, hey, paying attention. They said that the sensor UI, on the other hand, will help a driver take over for the automated system by features aimed at stimulating their senses. And this could be LED displays, this could be seat vibration, this could be fragrance UI, where it will offer a bit of an aroma to help the transition from passenger to driver. And lastly, the entertainment will be key when drivers have less driving to do, where in that regard, Pioneer is also demonstrating a multimedia display, a sound and aroma generator, and an automated seat position control. I have never, don't get me wrong, one of the hottest gifts this year was an oil diffuser and some people swear by them, some people like them. They're a thing. But I've never seen, especially when you try to combine it with television or other sensory uh, devices, like smell-o-vision was never a thing. Um, Computers don't come with different smells that you can load up like printer cartridges, like ink cartridges, and you can smell the video game that you're playing. Smell-o-vision was never a thing. So I don't know what Pioneer's aiming at with this, but looks like they're trying to bring aromas into the demonstration. Anyways, so Pioneer, they said they also developed 4 different types of LiDAR and is working on a LiDAR system that are more compact and low cost. LiDAR being like a light emitting detection, something. Anyways, it's how cars visualize and see the world around them. Very important because if they're very sensitive, if they're very long range, if they are very good, a car will be able to react and track all objects in its immediate surroundings. And think of it like the car's eyes. The car will be able to see better than a human ever would if the LiDAR system is efficient enough. So, further, the heads-up display aims to convey information to drivers with quality image featuring higher contrast, extended color gamut, better brightness, and minimized distortion. So, a heads-up display. Good idea. So, there's one more paragraph here, but we're out there. Pioneer, again, known for their speakers. They said in the article, known for the speakers, and even a speaker company is working on self-driving car technology. It's gonna get here fast. Like 1 year, it's gonna be, whatever, self-driving. I've heard about that. And, when it finally reaches the consumer level, it's gonna be like night and day. Like, take it back. Not even the consumer level. When it reaches the level where Uber or Lyft or Tesla or other cars can put them on the road and they are verified safe, and you can maintain fleets of self-driving cars, that's when the industry changes. That's when owning a car is something you don't have to do. And that's exciting. So there you go. And let's see. So we have time for like two. Again, we ended a bit early with our guest. AIVIA was a speaker company. If you missed any part of that interview, go back and check it out, computer.com. We have the entire show in podcast form. And of course, you can listen to us live on IRN, or you can listen to us podcast version of the show on YouTube, where you can watch the video, or anywhere where podcasts are heard. Now, let's see. So our next story, how about we do this one? And it's a little ironic because when it comes to the National Security Agency, the NSA, they have been caught red-handed doing something that they claimed now that they would never do. So this coming to us from TechDirt, and news surfaced last week indicating everything about computing is, well, that's not a word I can say on the air. But the NSA denies by the way, we're talking about how the NSA denies prior knowledge of Meltdown Spectre exploits. And let's see, for those of us who don't remember, Spectre and Meltdown, they were how essentially processors or CPU would artificially speed up their processes by essentially queuing up things before they were actually called for by the operating system. And by having them essentially kind of preloaded into memory, they were able to make it seem like processors were running anywhere between 10 to 30% faster. You get your ducks in a row, and if it called for them, then, it used some very, very innovative artificial intelligence or programming. And well, it was a huge security flaw because these things that load into memory could be accessed outside of applications that they were supposed to. So if you were able to get malware onto something, you were able to tap into that stream of memory, then you could have access to a lot of information that you could read. Again, you couldn't alter it, you couldn't write to it, you couldn't, do anything other than look at it. But essentially, it was a security flaw, and it was a security flaw that was so base to how processors worked. Every computer out there probably has received a software update that patched this, that fixed this, but it led to a lot of other problems besides. Anyways, it was a huge deal, and we only learned about it, last week, and other companies or companies behind the scenes were only made aware of it last December, was the earliest I had heard anyone make mention of it. But NSA has this nasty little habit of hoarding 0-day vulnerabilities so that they could harvest or use them in ways that would benefit, well, the United States government. So anyways, the government has stepped up to say that for once, it's not involved in making computing less safe, and that the current and this is the quote here, saying that the NSA did not know about the flaw, has not exploited it, and certainly the US government would never put a major company like Intel in a position of risk like this to try to hold open a vulnerability. Here's the problem. And, again, as the article states itself, the veracity of the statement is largely dependent on the credibility attributed to the person making it. While it is conceivable the NSA did not know about the flaw, it's laughable to assert that the NSA wouldn't put a major company in risk by withholding details on an exploit, where we have the entire history of the NSA's use of exploits and vulnerabilities and its hesitant compliance with the vulnerability equities process to serve as a counter argument. So essentially what the article is saying there, you remember things like ransomware, the WannaCry ransomware. That was one of the biggest last year, and there were a number of different ransomwares before that. Those were developed, that were made and found and explicitly curated by the NSA. They did not give up their 0-day vulnerabilities as long as they were not available to the public. They collected them, they saved them, so that if they ever needed to break into, mainly a Windows operating system, I'm sure there were Mac ones in there as well, but many of them were focused on, things like Adobe or Microsoft or many other software companies out there. The NSA curated these things. They saved them, they collected them, and then they lost their master list. They showed the world just how vulnerable everything was and how much the US government knew. And it was a lot. It was not a little, it was a lot. So they said that these recently discovered exploits, maybe the ones that got away, ones that the NSA never uncovered or never used, but the statement portrays that the NSA as an honest broker, which of course we know it isn't. If the NSA had access to these exploits, it most certainly would have used them before informing the affected companies. Again, that's what they do. They do it in terms, or they do it under the banner of national security. They do it under the banner of this keeps our country safe. But having these vulnerabilities and what they've accidentally leaked has probably done more to compromise security in this country than anything else. So, again, take it with a grain of salt, but the NSA says, folks, for once, this one was not us. Here you have it. All right, we have time for just one more story, and how about we do this one? So, yeah, sometimes things don't go always as planned. And when it comes to a company such as Google, that's not what they're really known for. They're usually known for very tight, well kept, well presented projects. Well, turns out CES, Google had to shut down their booth. No fun, no fun. And they said that Google shuts down its CES booth because it's not waterproof. And this coming to us from TechCrunch, and the author says that we were supposed to get a little preview of Google's CES booth ahead of the official opening CES today. And folks, if you're watching the video portion, you can see here an image of Google booth filled with water. No bueno. No bueno. So, and they said that it's raining in Las Vegas, and Google's 2-level outdoor booth clearly wasn't meant to withstand rain. And of course, he says that his IP rating is probably somewhere around 50 or 50. If you're not familiar with IP ratings, the first number indicates dirt, dust, things like that. And then the second number is the rating on how well it handles moisture. And a rating of 0 means that if it even so much as, gets breathed on the wrong way, it will have problems. So it's a joke. Anyways, for now, the booth is closed with tarps covering the roof and all of the electronics inside and out. And usually this wouldn't be a big deal, but this is the first time Google has exhibited at CES, and the company clearly put a lot of thought and effort into its presence. And the structure, which sits on the parking lots outside Las Vegas Convention Center, features a slide and plenty of exhibit space inside to show off all the new gadgets that Google and its partners announced today. And yeah, to be fair, Google says that it shut down the booth due to concerns for safety around the parking lot. And come back tomorrow when, of course, there will be the tour of the booth. But the Google booth not handling the inclement weather all that well. So check that out. All right, I take it back. That was a short story. And, some other stories that we may not be able to get to, but we can touch on lightly, include an Oracle app server was hacked. And get this, $226,000 worth of crypto coins were mined. Someone was able to get into the server, and they were able to inject software that then anyone who was using the server, or not even anyone, the computers running the server were then tasked with mining cryptocurrency. And lo and behold, $226,000 worth of cryptocurrency was deposited into a hacker's wallet. This is yet another of many, many, many different hacks that we've seen similar to this. And folks, this is coming to a computer near you, where ransomware, I think that was all last year and probably going to be a thing continuing, but another more deceptive and easier to get away with form of thievery is to get this software onto your computer, not tell anybody, and your computer surreptitiously mines cryptocurrency. Think of it like a botnet, but instead of pointing it outwards, it mines cryptocurrency and makes the people who own the botnet very, very wealthy in very short order. So, folks, pay attention, stay up to date, keep your updates updated, and be sure to tune into Computer America because, hey, we're going to stay on top of it as best we can. Thank you for joining us. And again, thank you to our guest, AIVIA Speakers, for joining us on the show to talk about their new speakers. And tomorrow, tune in as we have on the show Pop Zara Magazine, Herman Exum, and hey, he's out there at CES live. He's going to give us his own perspective, talk about what he's doing out there at CES, and also be sure to stay tuned to Computer America for more. Stay tuned to Computer America for more CES coverage, technology news, and more. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, And until next time, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.